Hello. Hi there. It is me, the local of the virtual of the bakers. Hello. Hi. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hello, hello, hello. Who do we have? Does anyone else want to say hi? There was someone in YouTube. Hi, there's Mr. TNV. Hello. Welcome, welcome in. Hello, 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 hello. We're baking today. We are doing the bread baking, and we're gonna be talking about some very, very serious philosophical content. We're gonna be talking about the most philosophical things of names while we're doing this, because I kind of had this realization with like bread baking, and I feel like it'd be kind of fun to talk about and also do as I am baking, because today we are making a very familiar bread. We are making a bread that I have made many, many, many times before, so it shouldn't be too different from what I normally do. And I realized that, but I do want to just talk about it, talk about like names, because I realized that, names are kind of irrelevant in some sort of sense when it comes to like bread baking and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna talk a little bit about that, but but hold on. But what is it? But I do want to mention something real quick first, because for the perceptive people, those who are very perceptive realize I have a nice little piece of art in the thumbnail for today's YouTube video, and I have now gotten this nice little cute thing. I have commissioned someone on Twitter. They are I believe they are in the description of my YouTube thing of Hero DZN. I will post them for the people on Twitch chat. This is where I got a nicely commissioned logo, and it's quite nice. It's quite nice. Hello, Broccoli. Hello. People on YouTube, you can see that. People on Twitch, I sent the link. But this is now a logo I'm going to use, and I guess you could say it's the brand for my virtual bakery. So, yeah, it's very cute, and I'm gonna put it like right here, maybe. But hold on, I want to try and actually make it like nice over here. Oh, this is the wrong camera. There it is. Okay. Hold on. There we go. Magnifico. Perfecto. Very good. Very, very good. Okay. So I'll put this like right here. I'll put it like right here in the corner. There you go. Now you can see it. Very nice, right? It's a very nice thing. It's very cute. It's very simple, it's to the point, and that's kind of like stuff that I like, something very straightforward, to the point. You see it right there. So hopefully I'm not getting into the way. I'll make myself a little smaller so it is visible. But actually, I'll put it right here in the corner. I'll figure out a place to put it some other time. But as you know, since we are in fact baking today, do you know what that means? Do you know what happens when we bake? Do you know what happens on the streams that happens when we decide to do the baking? Oh, you should know. You should know. It's time. Might need a darker background for it. Perhaps. But for now, I'm gonna just put this logo right here because it's very cute and very nice. So, but how funny. It's time for the nice Xbox quality microphone, because why not? Xbox quality, here we go. We're gonna be going into the breads now. Hold on. Ooh, gotta walk over. And, oh, I almost forgot.
So, to talk about today, we are of course going to be making milk bread, but I have also made croissant dough as well. So we have croissant dough that we can work with today as well. Hold on, I gotta just move stuff around. Hi everyone, hello. Hi chat, hello, hello. Nice to see you all. Hopefully you can see me. It looks like it. We're tracking, we're good. Alright, so I must ask you all a very important question. What what is milk bread? What is croissants? What are these? What are that? What are all these things that I speak and talk of? Are they actually bread? Or are they something else? Do they mean something else in some grand scheme of things? Like, what is a bread, you know? Why are they named sourdough? When a sourdough can be confused with just a piece of a normal loaf, like a country loaf. Why is a country loaf called a country loaf when a sourdough is kind of like a country loaf? Milk bread, white bread, brioche, they're all the same thing. You could put an egg in any of those things, but what makes it like so significant from each other? And then let's talk about like hot dog rolls, you know, hot dog buns or burger buns and potato buns and stuff like that. Like, yeah, they do have their signature name, but you can also. But the thing about roast breads and most croissant and most like doughs is that they aren't really what they are until you actually bake it off. If that makes sense, you know. I'll explain my thinking because I was really thinking hard about this. So hold on, let me just make sure I have everything ready. Got some water, and I need to get my booklet. Let's see. Oh, I didn't look up. What's the temperature I need to bake croissants at? Hold on. Okay, croissants. Recipe for croissants, videos. I just need the recipe. Give me the recipe, please. Pain au chocolat. Don't want that. Just let me see the temperature I need to bake it at. Oh, I think I just saw it. Wait, no, that's 70, 75. Oh, wait, that's proofing. I need baking. I want to know baking. 20 minutes. Okay, 20 minutes. And what kind of oven? 375. That's all I need to know. 20 minutes. 20 minutes, 375. So 375. Let me get my oven up to that temperature. There we are. All good to go. And I'm actually going to work on the croissants first because they are going to take the longest amount of time to rise, rest, and get ready. And then when we're done with that, then we can start working on the milk bread. And the milk bread and yada yada and other sort of things in between. So, yes. Alright. I'm excited because I think this might be the one. This might be the time I actually make a proper, good style, good quality croissant. So I'm very excited for this dough. Bread is delicious, bacteria that doesn't kill you. Actually, bread is actually a fungus. A fungus. I don't know. I don't really know where to go off. I'm not funny enough. I can't really tell you what it is. Like, oh, fungus. Whoa, I can go. I mean, I can make a stupid joke, but you see, I acknowledge it's stupid, so it's not gonna be funny for me. I could say, aha, fungus among us. Wow, I said the funny word, but who cares? Hold on, I gotta find. Oh, Silat mats. There we go. Amazon. Grr. So, let's make some baguettes. Yes? I need to get one more thing. That being a wheel. Wheel. There it is. And where is it? I just had it. Oh, it's up here. Alright. So, pastry wheel. Bench scraper. We're going to use this, and essentially what I'm going to do is just roll this out. It's very straightforward stuff we're working with here, folks. Looks good. The dough looked like it rose very nicely and fermented very nicely as well. I'm excited. I've made croissants. I made the croissant once on stream and it turned out alright. Then I tried a second time and that also turned out alright. Though they didn't really they didn't really meet the expectation. They didn't really get to the expectation of what I would expect for a croissant to be. Because no matter what I did, they were still hollow at the end of the day. So hopefully, with this, they won't be as hollow. I worked really hard on this recipe. I actually gone out and went to go get the nice expensive kind of butter too. So I got the right kind of butter. I was reading the recipe to the T because I just have a really hard time reading recipes, I guess. And now I think it's the day. Today's the day. I'm going to make a good croissant because all the croissants around me are not really that good to begin with. And there's only really one place I can get croissants, but unfortunately you have to get there really early in the morning. So unfortunately I just don't have access to a really good croissant. So here we are, going to the simple solution of, fine, I guess I'll do it myself. Have I ever made croissants well? Have I ever made croissants? No. Did I think I need professional training on this? Yes. So, yeah, here we are, trying to learn and do this all on my own. And, my goodness, let me tell you, this very nice quality butter is not cheap. So, I'm a little worried. I'm gonna go out and say I'm a little worried about today, just due to the reason of, oh my god, there is a lot at stake in the sense of this, in the monetary value, and I just want this to turn out well. With bread, it's like, oh, I don't really care that much if I make a mistake. It's more of like, oh man, I just wasted so much time, but I always have a lot of time. But when it comes to a bit of the monetary value, that's when it gets a little worrisome of like, oh geez, oh dear, oh god. I don't think I'm gonna have enough time I don't think I'll be able to make this. Since, rent is inevitable. Oh, and I just fell over. So, I am going to be making croissants, and hopefully they turn out the way I would like them to be. Hopefully. That's the dream. That's the wish. That's the want. I'm also going to take some of it to not make croissants, because the funny thing about croissant dough is that it's not just for croissants. And I'm going to elaborate what else cake can be used for, because it's quite fun. So I'm going to just cut these lines off, make some nice trimmings, and save the scraps, because I'm going to use the scraps for something as well. There we go. The bigger the scraps, the better they'll be, so hey. The bigger the scraps, the better the thing I'm going to make the scraps are going to be, so it's alright. Okay, I just want to make that a little bit more perfected. There we go. So, to talk about croissants for a moment. Technically, croissant dough is a laminated style of dough, as you may or may not tell. So laminated doughs have a bit of more... Okay, so laminated doughs. Let's see. How do I talk about laminated doughs? They're very simple in the sense of how to define them. They're a dough that's laminated with some sort of butter, so that's very nice. However, the dough for a croissant isn't used specifically for just a croissant. Croissants can also be utilized in other manners, like the dough itself. If you like Danish, like a fruit Danish or something like that, they also fall in that same territory of like, oh yeah, they have a laminated dough as well. Fruit Danish and all that sort of variety of things. Yeah. So even though I'm not making croissants here, I could, theoretically, take some of this scrap, or take some of these pieces of dough, make them into like little, Make them into little, I don't know what the word is. Make them into, hold on, I gotta try and remember words here. I forgot how to speak the English language. Roll them out into like little cylinders, or like, no, strips, that's the word. I could really roll these into strips, cut them into strips, and then just call it and call it there, Call it a day, wipe the hands off, and just say, let's make some Danish. But I like croissants too, so I'm just gonna make croissants as well. It'll be good experience, and it will taste good still. Yeah, that's exactly a thing to think about with baking and such. Like, even if I do mess up, which I'm hoping I don't, there is still something to be taken away from it all. Like, I can still learn from it, this and that, there's still things to look at. So there's not a lot at stake, but there is still a lot of good, even if I do mess up. But I do just want to try and focus on rolling out these croissants. I'm just worried about this part, because this is the most worrisome part. Just because every single time I get to this phase, I feel like I'm doing something wrong, though I just don't know exactly what I'm doing wrong. All I know is that something happens at this point. And then I'm not sure if it's because, like, oh, maybe it's because I'm rolling these too tight, or I'm not rolling these tight enough, or maybe I'm rolling them too thin, or this and that. I truly do not know. So, I'm a little worried in some sense, some variety. But either way around it, I'm hoping for the best here. I'm hoping that this turns out in the way that I envisioned. With all my hard work, research, and dedication to this, that it will turn out into something. So yeah. Hey, if I someday open a bakery, I want to make sure that I actually do croissants. I think they're a lovely, lovely breakfast food, and debatably, better than a donut. So, I want to make sure I do well with this. Just because if I do open up that alleged bakery in the future, I'll be ready. So there we go. These are going to be our croissants. So now I'm going to take them to another place in my room for now. Cover them up with a towel you cannot see. There's a towel at my table already. Actually, no, I don't want to use a towel. I want to actually just let them air dry, I believe. Not air dry, air rest. I don't think I want to grab them. Hold on, let me go check. I gotta go watch the video real quick. I gotta go watch the YouTube video to make sure I'm doing this correctly. Bacon, eat, egg wash. Oh, they are wrapped. They are lightly wrapped with plastic wrap. Good to know. I'm just gonna get my plastic wrap here, and I'm just going to go back to the table and just lightly put some plastic wrap over top. It was very much told that when they rise, when the croissants rise and rest, it's going to be very delicate with them. So I'm trying to make sure I don't like slap the plastic wrap around too much, just delicate. There we go. Now that's gonna rest for quite some time. We're gonna let that do its thing. But now, what do we do with all these scraps? Cause boy howdy, I make a boy howdy. I don't know why I keep saying boy howdy. It's, the more I kind of hear myself say boy howdy, the more just like I just want to tell myself in like a different body, in a different person. I need just someone else to tell me like to shut up. I don't know. I think saying boy howdy is kind of annoying here, for me at least. You know, come to think of it, I'm thinking of it right now, but I really should have probably asked Minna for help. I believe she said she has made croissants before, so I probably should have asked her for a little bit of insight. I believe she has a bit more expertise when it comes to stuff like this, so I should have asked her, now that I think about it real hard. But now I have a bunch of these scraps, and it's like, oh no, that's a lot of scrap. I don't know what to do with it. What do I do with all this scrap? Well, from what I've done and found out is that making them into little danishes is actually quite a fun way to eat them or utilize them. I don't know what the word is, but to reuse them. So I'm just going to try to make some nice fruit Danish. Just trying to also make sure what size is going to be good. And I think I got the right size. Oh, I gotta get some fruit, of course. I don't have, like, actual fruit. Instead, I'm going to be using some jam that I've made. Not jam. It's a jammy-like thing. This raspberry jam. And I'm going to be using that as the filling. It's nice. I don't have much of it, unfortunately, which is the caveat, which makes me a little upset, but it is what it is, if you will. It is what it is. So just doing a small little cylinder and then putting the little filling in the middle. And then we're just going to work off that. Same thing with like a thinner one, which isn't going to be too different. It's just that I have to be a bit more creative, I suppose. That's 2 fruit Danish. And we're going to do another one. Wrap it around my finger. Tuck the tail under. Use that as the bottom. There we go. Fruit Danish 3. Wrap it around my finger again. And tuck the tail under. It's relaxing. Really, it is. Bread baking is one of those things where, like, I find kind of funny when someone says, like, oh man, bread baking, it's so hard. I don't know how you do it, this and that. And it's like, yeah, nah. It's relaxing. It's very simple. Which is funny, because usually when I talk to, like, coworkers and people in the real life, in the flesh world, they always ask, like, hey, how do you, it's a icebreaker question of asking, like, hey, what do you do for fun? I bake. I bake an unhealthy amount of bread, and I love it. I don't know, people kind of get caught off guard. Like, wow, really? That's not stressful? It's relaxing, even? I suppose it's probably just because of like, oh, bread baking is such a behemoth of complications, and baking in its own right can be very hard, which I do agree. Baking in its own right is very difficult. But as long as you follow a recipe to the T and you use a recipe that's trusted, you should be always fine. There's no problems. There should be no problems. Alright. So that's on Fruit Danish, and I have just ran out of all my I have just ran out of all of my, what is it? My jam. So I have another plan. I actually found this out the other day because I kind of wondered, because I believe cinnamon rolls have the same, albeit slightly different, dough. So I'm gonna take these slices of dough right here, and also why I saved this one for here. I'm going to cut them into thirds, making 6 pieces all day. And before I do anything, I got some nice cinnamon, some simple things of cinnamon that I'm simply going to now dust. And I don't need to be skimpy on the cinnamon too. I can be very generous with it. So, just gonna flip them and make sure I get the other side as well. Very nice. Now I got my little container here, which I grabbed. Gonna really quickly grease it. You can use Pam. I have this really neat device. It makes any oil I put into it into like a spray. It's very nice. Hi, Sprockets. Hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. And now, I'm just going to take these boys. I'm going to try and get as much cinnamon on them as possible. And wrap them. Wrap them into a little cylindrical shape, tucking the pointy tail to the bottom and throwing it in. Well, I gotta do it a little bit better than that. Okay, there we go. Same thing with the other pieces. Same ordeal. Get it nice and thin. Roll it upon itself. And put the tail right under. There we go. These soon will become cinnamon rolls. Now, it's not really... I will go out and say this is not recommended to do, recommended to make. Like, if you want to make a nice cinnamon roll, all you really need is just, like, a nice, simple dough. Using a laminated dough, such as what I'm using, is kind of overkill. But, you see, I just want to see... I just want to do it. You can't stop me. There's nothing you can do to stop me. I just really want to see it through. So... But let's say if you did have, like, a lot of scraps, like how these two were, yeah, you can use that, go ahead, nothing's gonna stop you. But it is a lot of effort to make croissant dough specifically for cinnamon rolls. Don't get me wrong, you're gonna probably be making some amazing, amazing cinnamon rolls, but it's a lot of effort. Maybe you want to put yourself through the effort, in which I would say I commend you, I respect it. I know for myself, if I ever want to make a cinnamon roll, I'm probably just going to go find a nice sticky bun cinnamon roll recipe and not a croissant, because a croissant is it's a beast. It's a bear. It's a very, very annoying thing to make. There's just a lot of time to put into it, which also kind of gets me. There's a lot of time. It's very intense, labor intensive. This and that and this. But either way around it, these are going to be some really nice cinnamon rolls because they're going to be nice and crispy and crunchy and cinnamony, and just the flavor overall is just going to be so good. So I'm going to get whatever cinnamon left, I'm going to dust them a little bit, and that's that. That's the cinnamon. And as I did with the other previous bits, I'm going to wrap these in plastic. Since they're in a bit of a deeper container too, I can actually do a nice tight wrap on them to keep them safe. So here, we will put these boys into a place where chat and you will be able to see them. And yeah. I just gotta clean up all this extra cinnamon. The nice thing about cleaning cinnamon though, if you don't know, using just water is really is all you need. Because fun fact, if you did not know, cinnamon is hydrophobic. So it doesn't really matter too much to if you use like a dry rag, wet rag. But here, all this cinnamon, the cinnamon rolls, I'm gonna leave right here for today. You will see them rise as we go through with today. So, oh wait, can you not see it? You can kind of see it. Yeah, I'll leave it right here. There you go. Leave that right there. You can watch it. And we shall get into the other bits of business for today. So with that first little bit, I showed you that with croissants, croissant dough doesn't just have to be croissants. They can be cinnamon rolls, cinnamon buns, or, as I still have to wrap them, fruit Danish. So the next bread we are going to make, I'm going to be making a milk bread dough recipe. So I'm gonna actually, well, before I do that, I'm gonna make sure I put this to the side. Just have to straighten up real quick. Want to make sure everything's nice and clean before we get to our next business here. Alright. So, this milk bread recipe has gone through so many editations from the last time I've made milk bread, and this is, honestly, the best milk bread I've made. It's incredible. It's incredibly fluffy, soft. When I was doing my testings for it the other day, it was so fluffy and soft that I nearly thought it was raw. I was checking it, like, poking it, making sure it didn't, like, was cooked all the way, this and that. But as I was, like, poking it, it was like, wow, this feels raw still. Eventually I just kind of caved in and put in my thermometer to really make sure it's hot, cooked all the way. Lo and behold, it was, but oh my goodness, it was jiggling, it was shaking, it was moving all over the place. I thought it was raw still, but nope, it was fully cooked. Alright. So I don't feel the need to really talk about this recipe too much because, I don't know, it's strange for me to talk about a recipe when I can tell you that it's in the video of the description of this VOD, not video. But it's the description of the video. These are my, usually, these are my recipes. If I use a recipe that I don't use, then I try to link that into the description. But usually majority of the recipes I do try to use, that I do find, they are usually my recipes. For example, this milk bread, this is definitely mine. However, the croissant dough I use is definitely not mine. Croissant dough is very complicated, so I don't believe I'm ever going to really have the opportunity to make a croissant dough myself. There's too many layers to like how you make a good croissant recipe, so I am going to just stand by away from it and let professionals do their thing and just kind of go with what I got. So But with what I got or not, I need to make sure I measure out the milk. 322 grams. Oh, 25, that's alright. 325, and I'm gonna just nuke it into my microwave. Wanna make sure it's warm. The yeast. Oh, by the way, I should actually ask about this because I always forget to ask, but how is the audio right now? Can you hear me? Is the audio alright? Is anything too loud? Can I make it better for you? Is there any complaints? If not, don't say anything, I guess. I don't know. Okay, it needs 50 more seconds. I don't really like using my microwave too much, but that being said, I do find myself using my microwave a lot. Not really to like cook with it, because cooking with a microwave, that sounds dumb. It sounds crazy. But I hear there are people out there in this crazy, crazy world that is... I'm sorry, I still can't really fathom it, that they cook with the microwave? Don't get me wrong, I believe you could, but at the same time, it's like, if you have a microwave, I would also like to think that you have the necessary means to cook without it. Unless you're doing like, I don't know, chicken fingers. Like or heating up like a meal from a prior night, and it's like, okay, well, that's just fair game. You're just trying to reheat it. But trying to actually cook with the microwave seems very wrong, my way of thinking. Anyways, I'm gonna make sure I dissolve the yeast. Make sure the yeast is dissolved in this little thing of milk here. It's kind of funny, because if you think about what I'm doing, this kind of does look like if I was, I don't know, making myself like a cup of milk. I mean, a cup of tea. Or a cup of coffee. I just put in my sugar, and now I'm just mixing in the milk. Yes, very tasty. Yum yum. I use my toaster oven more than a microwave. Yeah, like, I feel like if you use a microwave, you probably also have other alternatives, like, as you said, a microwave oven. I mean, a toaster oven. Speaking of a toaster oven, are they good? I've been thinking about getting one for the longest time, just because I hear that they're really good. But to my knowledge, I think it would also be more beneficial to get a air fryer, because an air fryer and a toaster oven are pretty much the same thing. No, they're not identical, but the way they work are fairly similar. I love my toaster oven. It also has air fry. So nice. What, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of brand is it? $632. I have been thinking about getting more kitchen appliances, especially for cookware as such, because I've been thinking that I kind of do want some more cookware. I've been thinking about buying stuff, especially because the plastic shelves in my refrigerator have collapsed. They have succumbed to the unfortunate effects of gravity and have, well, I gotta go buy new ones. Because I already made a message to my landlord asking, like, hey, is there a way you can replace it? And they've gone pretty much radio silent with me. So, gotta try and. I'm going to assume that I gotta try and figure it out on my own. It's gonna be a fun time. But, we'll see. I don't really know how to do research on something like that, but it's the first for everything, right? It's just a Black and Decker, but better are available. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I need more sugar. Gotta make sure I put that on a list next time. I don't have a lot of sugar left. Granted, I don't really use sugar that often, but it's still something I do know now I need. I have been burning through a lot of sugar recently. I've been making a lot of milk bread, so. Alright, so that's that. I'm just gonna really quickly. Oh, it's weird. Is everything good still? Is quality is still alright? I think my thing decided to glitch out a little bit. Alright. Alright, so I'm gonna put my thing on like that, and I'm just gonna start making this bread slurry. You can probably see it, I hope you can. This pot right here to my right, I'm using it to make a bread slurry. Or, in more technical terms, it's called a tangzong. Whatever you would like to call it. Tangzong. Bread slurry. Weird paste that you make for milk bread. I'm making it. I'm using it to make something. But I'm finding out that using just plain water works perfectly fine. I would say, like, hey, maybe I should use milk for this or something like that to make it more milk bready. But I think for I'm looking less for like what's in the milk bread, and I'm thinking more of like what makes a milk bread so good, you know? So I've been thinking and realizing that maybe with this milk bread, I think a little bit less on the ingredients and more like what is the end product. For me, when I think of milk bread, I think of a nice, sweet, very fluffy, soft kind of bread. And this is pretty much one of the best ways to. This is pretty much the best way that I can see. So, uh, it. I'm still gonna try and make sure that I have milk bread in the milk in the recipe, obviously, because how do you make a milk bread without milk? It's like how do you make a grilled cheese sandwich without cheese? It's kind of like that sort of line of thinking. But I still realize that milk is not the main ingredient for the milk bread. It's more of like I'm looking for the qualities of a milk bread. So nice, it lasts long, has a good shelf life, soft, fluffy, incredibly luscious, and great to eat and delicious, and all these other words I can throw at you. But I probably assume that you're not too interested in it, and I don't blame you honestly. I'm making a funny bread. I'm making a very good bread. The Asian people know how to make good bread, I suppose, because it's a very addicting bread, very sweet, very delicious. Though I can very much say that it's not like, it's not like a nice artisan bread. It's good sandwich bread. It's good milk. It's good for French toast. Milk bread is also good for like bread pudding, other sort of sweet stuff like that. Because usually this bread is a lot more of a sweeter kind of bread. But it's not gonna be like your dinner. Actually, no, it would be a really fantastic dinner roll, just because it's so fluffy, luscious, and soft, and just so good. But it's not gonna be like a nice, good slice of sourdough, you know? It can't replace that. It really can't. Anyways, now at this point, I'm just trying to mix this up just so I can cool it down a little. To help cool it down even faster, I'm just gonna throw it into my. Oh, that's scary, but I'm going to roll with it. Yeah, okay, there we go. Leave that in my refrigerator until that gets ready. I also need another thing. I need butter. I need butter. How much do I need? 82 grams, sorry. Got some butter right here. Perfect. Good, good, good. That's a good amount. Now I'm just gonna have this left to the side. I'm gonna not macerate it. I'm gonna just like make sure I can make it into a bit, I don't know what the right word here is. More manageable pieces, I suppose. I'm also gonna put better parchment. I just wanted to soften up a little bit. It's better to work with softened butter than like a nice solid butter for something like this. Really want to make sure that's a little bit more softened, just because it'll be easier to blend into a bread. So it would have been nicer to do nice thin slices, but that's hindsight. And also, I'm just not intuitive enough to think about that. Okay, so it's time to start the baking or the mixing. So this is your real quick warning to anyone in chat, anyone at all. I'm about to turn on my mixer. Whether it's loud or not, I do not know. But this is your fair warning to either take your headphones off or mute stream. There you go. There's your, what's the word? There's your, I don't know what the word is. Your discrepancy, your fair warning, your knowledge of I'm probably gonna burst your eardrums out, all are valid. But we're about to do the thing. So, here, I'm actually gonna move the cinnamon rolls and just make sure that I make sure you see this. Because this part is fairly important. Fairly. Alright, here we go. Oh, wait, you can only see a little bit of it. I want to make sure you see just at least as much bowl as possible. That's good. Alright, so, as always with mixing, you want to put your wets into the dries first. And then I'm going to turn that on. And yeah, I'm just gonna let that mix just a little bit, let it do its thing, as I just start clearing up a bit. A very important kitchen skill. This is not just cooking, but whenever you're working in a kitchen of any sort, cleaning up as you go. Very, very important. Anyways, I'm now going to slowly add in my tangzong. It's on to the other side, so you can't see it, but I'm trying to make sure I kind of slowly put it in. It's still a little warm, but it's not warm enough to where it's gonna hurt or kill the yeast. So I also want to make sure I'm adding it slowly enough to where it doesn't kill the yeast, though. Usually a good rule of thumb to know when your tangzong, your bread slurry is cooled off enough, is when, if you can put your finger in it and it doesn't really hurt, or it doesn't hurt at all, I would recommend you just wait a specific amount of time before it stops getting like hot, But if you're impatient like me and like to do a little bit of rushing, you can stretch the rules a little bit. Alright, keep an eye on that for me. It should be getting... Now we just kind of have to wait for it to mix all together. Perhaps I should do a... You know, I'm just thinking about this right now. Remember when I did the stream where I just pretty much just used a knife to make all the food that I did? A knife and a pan? I'm kind of wondering, should I do it? I think I should do a stream like that again. But instead of using... what is it? Hi there, I don't know who just joined. Oh my goodness. I gotta go see who just joined. Okay. Oh, okay, hello there. Just to let you know that I am live, so, if you're gonna be muted, you can, that's fine. But just to let you know that I am live, so, yada yada. Anyways. Alright, let me see. My mixer doesn't have a slow speed. It has fast 1 to super fast 4. Oh, there you go. Alright. So, if that's the case, if you have a setting that's only 1 to 4, then for this step, if you would be following the step, you can actually just go to 1, and then you're good to go. I'm at the slowest setting I can be at, which is, well, stir, but it's also just 1, so there's that too. Alright, at this point, I kind of want to scrape the sides a bit. I want to make sure all this dough is getting mixed up, all the bread is getting, all the flour and the ingredients are getting mixed in and implemented. There we go. Very sticky. Alright. Still quite a bit of flour left, so I'm just going to be making sure I get it mixed in very nicely. So anyways, back to my first train of thought. Maybe I should do a stream about baking, but I don't use my my mixer for a stream, doing everything by hand. I would think, like, what kind of bread would I make without my mixer, but there really is a lot of bread you can make without a mixer that's very good and fun to make. Like focaccia. Focaccia is a bread that I love to make, and also I've been thinking and dreaming about a nice focaccia sandwich, like nice garlic rosemary bread with a nice garlic aioli, roast chicken, some nice greens, tomatoes, onion, maybe pickled onion. That'd be really nice. But either way around it, I'm thinking about stuff like that, and I just want a nice, like, focaccia sandwich. But I definitely know that if I want to make a bread without a mixer, I very much don't want to make brioche. Or maybe that's the reason why I should do it without a mixer. Because I kind of realize that not everyone in the world is going to be having a mixer available to them. And, like, maybe you want to make yourself a nice thing of brioche. And brioche in its own right is very fun and delicious to make. Though I do admit that it's also very difficult to make. But I have made brioche by hand plenty of times. That was during the time when I was in college still, and I really needed, like, a nice brioche bun, and this and that. But I digress. So yeah, we're just gonna let that do its thing. It's gonna be taking some time. We will be able to tell when gluten is developed, because it'll actually be able to come off the side of the bowls, stuff like that. But as much as I know right now, we just gotta have to keep scraping at the bowl and keep mixing it. We want to make sure some gluten is being developed before we do anything with it, because if we add the butter right now, it's just going to be even harder to like develop anything. So we develop the gluten right now, it'll be good for that, and then we add the butter later. So yeah, anyways, we're just gonna let that do its thing. I would say we can just go walk away for now. I'm gonna sit myself down, relax a little bit, take a load off, if you will. What did I miss? Oh, you didn't miss much. We're still, mixing bread right now, so we're still fairly early in the whole baking thing. Yeah. Yeah, we kind of just have to wait for just let that do its thing. So yeah. Oh, Twitch chat, looks like there is going to be an ad break in about 30 seconds. I would say it's probably going to be a good idea for us on Twitch side that we are going to just do a little BRB for Twitch. So, I'm not going to go on BRB because I still have YouTube chat. Hi, YouTube. But we're going to just, like, relax a little bit, stretch, talk about life, philosophy, I guess. You know. Not really. I can't talk about philosophy. Alright, I'll see you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll see you later, Twitch chat. You come back later. Bye. Alright. Twitch is gone. Twitch chat is gone. We can say all the nasty, mean things about them now, like how Twitch smells. Twitch is dumb. Wow. Oh, nice. It's not late as last night, so that's great. Yeah, I needed to start a little early today just because croissants are they take a lot of time to, like, proof and relax and rest. They can take an utmost of, like, 3, maybe 4 hours to get baked. So, we have to really get a head start with that. I wanted to do it off camera, like, do it off stream, but doing that early would kind of almost defeat the purpose of showing how to make them, and also defeat the purpose of what you can do with, like, scraps and stuff. So there's that we're a little worried about too. Right now we're just making milk bread, and as you can see into the dough, it's starting to make a more homogeneous looking ball. Like, it's starting to less look like a pile, and now it's actually coming together into a ball. So we can now tell that at this point it is starting to develop a bit more gluten. We still have to wait though, so not much to really can do right now. Fairly soon we're gonna get to that point to where I can start adding butter and I can stop sitting down, and then when we're done with that, we can actually maybe play a game or maybe draw a little bit, because at this point we are just kind of standing around waiting for stuff to happen. The bread has to relax, the bread has to rise, this and that, and then yeah, I got plans of what we can do when the bread is rising, so we got that. But for now we kind of just have to do the annoying, quote-unquote, tedious stuff. I like doing this stuff though. It's like very, very relaxing for me, as I've already said. Bread baking is an extremely relaxing way of life for me, because all you do is just you throw stuff in a bowl, and then you wait. And then when you're patient and wait good enough, and you make sure you follow a recipe to the T, you get a good bread. Like, you get an extremely nice quality bread. But breads. Talking about breads aside, I was talking to a pal, I was talking to someone in the real life, in the real world, the flesh world. And we were talking about, like, how, bread, and, like, how making homemade bread is a lot better than, like, getting a store-bought bread, you know? Them and I were having a conversation about, how bread is such a really great thing to have, very delicious. But it's really upsetting to really get like a Wonder Bread and realizing how many preservatives and stuff in that are into it. Because we were talking about like shelf life for a moment. We were talking about like, hey, whenever I make bread at home, like they always tend to what's the word? Mold very quickly. And even though on one hand it's kind of annoying, and it's gonna sound really stupid to say this, but I would rather see my bread have the ability to mold than to not have the ability to mold. And I know that's weird, that makes no sense on paper, but hear me out when I say this. They're usually on sandwich breads, all these sort of breads that you get at the supermarket, and it's like store brand bread. I They have so many preservatives. They have so many things inside of them that makes them so shelf stable. Makes them last for so long that they do, and so fluffy and soft. But it's all industrialized, and it has so many chemical agents and like preservatives and carcinogens above all else, and it's just not really good for you to have. So the next best thing is to go to a nice store, a nice bakery, to go get a nice quality bread there where they make it fresh every day. That's a better way of doing things. However, sometimes some people don't have that available to them. Some people just don't have that stuff available to them. So then the next best option is to make the bread. But sometimes making bread is very difficult. Making milk bread, for example. Making milk bread is a fairly difficult task to do. There's so many things you gotta put into it. There's a lot of effort, and especially if you don't have a mixer, then it's gonna be very, very difficult to make. But it does really yield some really good results. As long as you follow a really good recipe, um, you'll really get a bread that is above and beyond better than anything you get into a store. So, but it was kind of funny to talk to this person because they were from originally they were from Europe, and if you know anything about Europe and bread, the EU they have a very strict law of how they treat their breads. With their laws and how they treat their breads, you could not sell any of the breads we have in the stores. And they keep getting stricter, which is very nice because it kind of preserves the quality of a good quality, like, artisan bread. You still can see, like, brands of Wonder Bread and stuff in the EU, but it has probably been through a much more different process than how it is in America. But it's really interesting to know, like, wow, Italy, Europe, and all this stuff have so much bread and this and that. And we're still here in America, and we have all this, like, chemical bread. So, I don't know. It's a thought experiment. Definitely a thought experiment. Like, wow, why do we have such bad bread and have that in such quantity, while in Europe and such, they have such quality of bread in such quantity as well? So it's like, why can't we do that? Well, I mean, it's less that, because I do know there is a very valid reason to why we can't do that. And here, I gotta stand up, because I think that bread's ready to start adding butter into it. Alright, there we go. Just gonna make sure I scrape off the sides, give it a bit more freedom. Oh yeah, we're ready. We're definitely ready to add butter. Alright. I'm just gonna add small chunks at a time. Just to make sure it doesn't get overwhelmed with butter. But Illuminati bread. You say that as a joke, but what if it was? Probably isn't, but that'd be kind of funny. They put all these chemicals. You know what? Why can't you know what? With all how there's so many crazy things of like saying like, oh, vaccination is bad, or like, oh, drinking water is bad for you. Make sure you drink coffee every day, and like, there's a bunch of silly conspiracies out there in the world today. Let's start our own conspiracy, all right? Today is gonna be the day. We're gonna start a conspiracy today. The government puts chemicals and stuff in our bread to make sure our livelihood isn't as long as they could be, because the government doesn't want to make sure we live as long, and they want us all dead. That's my conspiracy theory. The government is out to kill you. They want to take your assets and all this sort of stuff. Blah 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 blah. And that's why they put chemical agents in our bread. They don't want to make sure it lasts long. Rah, 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 rah. Get your tinfoil caps on. Get ready. We're gonna start talking about the spicy things today. Anyway, so milk bread's very, very lovely and nice. So I'm gonna make sure I actually get the bread. Make sure I actually can get the butter into the bread, infuse it, instead of just kind of spreading it on. So we're definitely there. The not emulsion. It is kind of an emulsion. Nah, never mind. That's a different conversation. That's a different debate. But now I just gotta make sure the butter gets actually added into the dough itself. It'll take a moment, but since the gluten has been developed so nicely now, we should have plenty of time. Well, not plenty of time. It should be easier to add the butter into the dough, and we can just kind of let that rest and do its thing, and we'll be done. Background music is a little garbled for me at the moment. What does garbled mean? Like, loud? Annoying? What does garbled mean? I don't know what you mean by this. I'll turn it up, if that's the issue. I'm not sure if it is, but... Alright, we're getting there. Just gotta scrape the sides one more time, and that should probably be the last time we do this. Yeah, that dough feels incredibly soft. Alright, let it rock one more time. Dipping in static. Alright, well, I've turned it up a little bit, so hopefully it should be a bit more responsive, hopefully. Is that any better? I tried to make it a bit higher so it's a bit more responsive, so... Alright, it could be my end, though. Well, hopefully it's better now. I increased the volume of it, so it should be better. And there we go. After a lot of time, now when we added the butter, I'm gonna put this on lower speed. We can now see that it's now together as one big ol' homogeneous ball. So now at this point, we can say that gluten has been very much developed. It is gonna be a nice, good old soft bread, and nice and chewy above all else. Alright. That's enough mixing. We're done with our mixer today. But just to make sure, because you can never be sure about bread, the best way to make sure the gluten has been nicely developed is by picking off a piece and then doing the window pane test. Essentially, it's like you get a little piece of dough and then you stretch it just enough to where you can get a nice clear window, and it's see-through, like this. Now, it's a little bit more hard to do it with a bread like this, just because there's so much butter that we added into it. But I'm doing it right now, and I can see right through it. It's not stretching, it's not tearing. So we are fine. We are able to let this rest to now. Just let it rest is really it. We're gonna let this boy rest, and we'll be able to make that into a nice, delicious loaf. I'm actually gonna do several things with this because I did a Pullman batch of this recipe, which is a double recipe. So with this, with milk bread. Now, even though that it is a milk bread, I'm going to be making it into several things. I'm going to be making it into a dinner roll. I'm going to probably, maybe a nice Hawaiian, make like a nice honey milk roll. I might make it into a nice hot dog roll, a hoagie roll, stuff like this, you know? Because I recently made some meatballs because I bought some ground beef recently. And I was gonna do tacos, but I also got chicken on sale. But I found chicken at a really good price. For 4 chicken thighs, it was like $5. And I don't think I've ever seen a better deal like that in my life. So I impulse shopped for it. Unfortunately. Here, I'm gonna put the doughs right here for now, just so we can all see. But yeah. I impulse bought it and I made a nice breakfast chicken taco today. It was delicious. It was great. I'm also gonna be making myself a nice dinner. I'm gonna be making myself chicken karaage, which is why I also want to make some nice dinner rolls. And also, on top of that all, I made myself chicken stock. A nice simple chicken stock, and you can see with how it is, it looks almost gelatinous. There was a lot of collagen, and the skin was still on the thighs, so I was able to put the skins into my stock, and even though there was a bit of fat on them, I actually have some of the fat as well, so now I have a cooking animal fat, that I'm going to be using for cooking, because animal fat is very good for you. There's a lot of, like, collagen and other sort of fun things that are good for your body to consume. So, yeah. With just $5, I'm able to make myself a nice chicken stock, because the bones, I removed them from the bones. Yeah, so I was able to make chicken stock. I got myself essentially chicken butter, in a way, chicken oil. It's really strange to say it like that, but that's what it is. And, you know, I got a lot of value out of $5. So yeah, anyways, TLDR, I got a lot of value for $5. I didn't want my ground beef to go to waste. So I made meatballs instead. I'm not sure if anyone else can attest to this, because I fully believe that one of the best things to make, if you want to make something and you want to not cook for the entirety of a week, the best things to make are meatloaf, meatballs, and stuff among that. They're simple, they're easy to make, they require very little effort to get ready and cook, and they make some of the best leftovers possible. For like meatloaf, oh my goodness, meatloaf sandwiches, and if you don't want meatloaf anymore, then you can kind of mince it up and make it into a weird sort of bolognese if you really wanted to. There's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of things you can do. So, okay, well, at this point, we are kind of just waiting for stuff to rest and rise. We're waiting for our milk bread to rest. We're waiting for our croissants to rise a little bit more. So now, I'm just gonna be putting everything on screen, except for the croissants themselves. They might actually not get done today's stream. But the danishes and the cinnamon rolls should be done. So I'm gonna leave them out in the open, and I'm gonna turn the oven on. Alright. So we have those things resting right now. I'm not gonna put them onto my what is it, on my oven, because that could melt the butter, and that's not going to be very good at the end at all. It would ruin all the layers. Alright, I'm gonna really quickly check my audio. So, you might hear double me for a second. Audio. So, you might hear double me for a second. Alright, there we go. We're good. You might hear double me for a second. I think I'm now realizing another thing that might be happening. It's me. My audio. My general audio is just not good because this mic I have isn't really that great. And when I talk a little bit more softly, it's a little bit more harder to use. So yeah. However, since now I'm at my desktop and I don't have to worry too hard about, where I am.
We can now turn back into quality, Salty. We can now make sure that we're not too crunchy and we can actually do stuff and do things, so... What's your thoughts on sous vide? Sous vide is cool. It's very cool. Though I do not think it replaces the utility of just learning how to cook. Like, hey, sous vide is really cool and this and that, but at the same time, I feel like it's almost lazy in a sense, you know? Now, I don't really know how to explain it, but sous vide, like, I don't really like sous vide steak. I'll be honest. Sous vide steak, it's too much of a good thing, if that makes sense, you know? I've tried to also make, like, a sous vide fried chicken, because that's also another thing you can do. But, once more, it's one of those things of, it's very good, but it's too good that it ruins the fundamental of a fried chicken. So, it's just, like, the same thing with a steak. Like, it's a good, nice, moist, juicy steak, but it just doesn't feel like a steak to me. It doesn't taste like a steak. And I just don't know how I feel about it. So, I like sous vide, it's cool, but at the same time, it's like, I personally just like the idea of just learning how to cook a steak. Sear it both sides. If it's not cooked enough, then you either baste it or throw in the oven. Whatever you do, whatever works. Learning how to cook a steak correctly. Now, I'm not saying the people who actually, cook steaks, this and that, use sous vide, don't know how to cook steaks, but, it's just, meh. I just don't know how I just don't really like sous vide. I just don't like it. TLDR. I just don't like it. Okay. What shall we do? What should we do? What should we do? We have probably a guesstimation of 30 minutes. The room is getting relatively warm. The oven is on, so I would say that we have a relative amount of 30 minutes to get something done. So, how about we... work on some animation. That would be fun, no? Nah? So, to anyone who is interested in that sort of, so anyone who is kind of here for baking and such, this is your real quick warning. We are going to be, we're gonna be doing something else for 30 minutes, and then we will be back to doing whatever. So, consider this a nice 30 break for you all. You got 30 minutes to go relax. This is your 30-minute break. Yeah, make sure you clock out, so your time isn't being counted for this and that. Anyways, let's do some animation, yes? Okay. I just need a way to also just turn my brain off as well. There's been just too much. There's been just an overstimulation. For me, when I talk, talking for me is just a lot of stimulation that I need to commit to doing. Talking, very hard. Me, not good at talking, so it's a lot. Takes a lot out of me, you know? It's a lot of talking. It's a lot of, like, blabbing about. Like, do you hear this man blabble blab 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 blab? A lot of talking. And of which I don't really talk that much to begin with, so it's just a lot. Like, man, does he shut up? Will he shut up? Questions that will never be answered, unfortunately. Alright. Alright. So, I have this animation still of Minima that we still want to try and finish. And since I haven't really found the time to do it off stream, and I wanted to do it yesterday I wanted to do it yesterday's stream, but ended up not doing it. We're doing it right now. We'll do it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Alright. Let's do a quick test. I want to make sure that these look okay-ish. Yeah, they look good. I'm gonna be having a nice fun time. I get to be lazy. I get to just kind of like trace over my own work. Woohoo, yippee. How's life? Life is good. Life is very good. No complaints whatsoever. We're baking bread at the moment, so... Oh, wait, yeah, this reminded me. I need to make sure I got my bread cam. Hold on, wait, it's not good enough. We enjoy a little scuff, right? Horizontal? No, I need to do vertical. And then a horizontal. There we go. So yeah, we are in fact baking today. It's just that we have to let stuff rise and rest. So for now, that's what we are doing. Letting things do their things, letting it rise at their own pace. Bread gang, letting it rise. Why is bread the name that way it is? It's the root of the word, come to think of the Proto-Indo-European base kli, which meaning to stick together or to be sticky. That's oddly specific. And it's so specific that I kind of believe it. It's specific enough to where it's like, I don't know what you're saying, so I'm going to assume you're qualified in an English degree. So, yes, I agree. I don't know what you said, funny man, but yes, that has to be the answer. Okay. I get to relax now. I get to relax. You all don't get to relax. You get to watch me draw. You get to just go to Snoresville at this point to go like, oh, man, he's drawing. It's so boring to watch someone draw. But you know, there really isn't much there's not much we can do when bread is rising. Granted, I could play a video game, that'd be fun. But I'm gonna be real with you, I don't feel like playing a game right now. I feel like talking, funny enough. Play some Dark Souls. Playing Dark Souls. You know, I'm kind of wondering, should I play like Dark Souls on stream? Should I play like Elder Scrolls or whatever the heck they are? Hold on, I gotta sneeze. Okay. Alright. Sorry. Yeah, but I've been thinking, like, maybe I should play some games, funny games on stream. Some games on stream. Better games. I am a gamer at heart. I really like playing the video games, yada yada. But I'm starting to realize I don't really play as many video games as I really thought I did. I was doing a collab sheet of like, there's a new thing going on Twitter of like, oh yeah, here's my collab sheet. This is what I like to play and stuff. And I kind of realized making my list, it's like, it's very straightforward. It's very linear and there's not many games that I actually play. So, I don't know. Got me thinking real hard. Do you want recommendations? Sure, I'll take some. You see, my thing when I think the thing about the games that I want to play, there's an issue with that. That mostly being of a lot of games that I would love to play, would love to play, is that they tend to be multiplayer games. Now, unfortunately, I don't have many multiplayer ability. I am only usually a single player thing, or if there is multiplayer, it's like a game that I can just play on my own. Like, I really like Team Fortress 2, and that is very much a multiplayer game. But I can still accomplish and do my own thing without, like, really interacting with anyone. What's my favorite kind of games? I like FPS, I like open world. RPGs are fun to play, honestly, but for me, I just don't like streaming them. I don't like talking. I really like RPG games, but my goodness, I'm the worst person to watch if you want to watch someone play an RPG game. I don't skip cutscenes usually anymore. That's kind of a come and gone, but when it comes to like watching for what I imagine, if you go to a person to watch someone stream an RPG game, you want them to like read the dialogue, you know, try and make sure that they're having fun, this and that, but it's I don't really read well, and I talk even worse. And my attention span will go from, oh yeah, I'll read this. But then at some point I just stop reading, and then it's like, oh, what the heck, why is he not reading anymore? So, okay, when you say skip cutscene, do you mean skip it even in the first playthrough? Yes, because the thing about what I do, I speed read. If you don't, for me, I don't like when I play an RPG game like Pokemon, for example, I don't really read it out like a book, and I don't read it out loud. I read it in my head. And when I read something in my head, I read a lot quicker in my head than I would if I were to stream it, so to say. Why? Well, I don't skip it necessarily. I don't try to skip it. It's just when I do stream, and when you see me doing the thing, it looks like I'm skipping, but I'm not. I'm just reading it in my head really, really quickly. I'm a sprinter when it comes to reading in my head, but that's in my head, and then no one else will have usually a way to compensate, if you will. But yeah, I don't try to actually, skip through the first playthrough. It's just that it looks like I'm skipping because I'm doing it so quickly. Well, I'm reading so quickly in my head. Kinda nice right now. I'm not sure if it's picking up. I hope it's not, because I listen to a lot of copyright music. I'm listening to my Spotify as I'm doing this, helping me relax and actually concentrate a bit. I think you would like Atomic Heart. I've heard it's good, but at the same time, I'm just I'll put it in my library at least. You like platformers? Yeah, I like platformers. Oh, just thinking about platformers. I really, really need to play Super Mario, the Super Mario Wonder game. I've been really wanting to play that, but of course off stream. Something I kind of think and believe even though there are a lot of games that, oh yeah, I should stream this game, I should do this game. Unless I really feel like streaming it, I will stream it. But there's also equally a lot of games that I want to play on my own time, because there's a lot of games I like to play where it's like, I just want to play this and not commentate over it like a YouTube video. Psychonauts is a pretty good platformer. I believe I've heard of that. I'll look into it. I'll have to wait for my next paycheck, unfortunately. Games, rent, all this stuff. So expensive. God, it sucks being an adult. Woe is me. I hate being an adult. I hate being an adult, though. Like, I know I was just sounding really sarcastic there, but man, being an adult sucks. I don't know what was wrong with me, because as with most kids, you know, they're like, man, I can't wait to be an adult and stuff like that. But now really thinking about it, it's like, man, I want to like drive a car and do this and that. And then I realized that you don't really need a car all the time if you have like other people to drive you around or public transport. And it's like, being an adult sucks. How do people live like this? Psychonauts is pretty good. It's an older game. You can emulate Psychonauts if you want. But I don't like emulating. I like supporting developers. There are some things where it's like, I would not like to support a developer, then I would do it, but I don't know, I need a good reason to not support them, I suppose. Oh, that's good. Okay, good. That's a good That's a good. Those are good frames. Good frames. Good frames. You know, thinking about animation and also thinking about what happened, I think yesterday, last night. I kind of want to do an animation for Loaf. I want to do something for them, but I'm gonna sound really cynical here. I don't think they look at my stuff anymore, so I don't think I want to really bother the notion. Don't get me wrong, I like drawing just because the sake of drawing, but at the same time it's like, if I draw something, I would at least like to have the person that I'm drawing, or the VTuber, just anyone, if I'm drawing for someone, I would like for someone to see the drawing. I'm not sure if that's cynical to say, but if I'm doing a drawing, I would at least like the person to see the drawing. And I remember, I don't know. Mega Man is pretty good, but tough platformer. I have tried Mega Man, and I really want to get back into it. I like Mega Man, because I also main Mega Man in Smash Ultimate. So maybe I'll play I'll play a Mega Man game. I'll give it another try. You can buy the first 6 games in a collection on Steam. I'll have to do it when it gets on sale. Yes. It's on Humble Bundle now, actually. I'll look into it. I think I'll probably buy games later, though. So, I'll definitely write these down, though. Mega Man, I feel like, is definitely a game I would like to stream. So, I definitely want to try and play Mega Man on stream once or twice. It's not like a rage game or anything like that, but I imagine it's probably a game that would be kind of funny for me to play on stream. Oh, there's also a... what is it? There's also a... I think there's a HoloLive version of like a Metrovania, or at least Mega Man style game. And it has like flair. So I probably want to play that eventually, but a good way to ease into it, I imagine, would be to play a Mega Man game. The game that it's based off of, you know? Nice way to dip the feet in, get started, get used to it, and then really get the interest then, and then play that. That'd be fun. Mega Man, my favorite Mega Man is either 2 or 5. I think I know what you're talking about, but I just can't remember the name. Neither can I. I've regretted. I'm just listening to this song right now on my Spotify, and I think a lot of nostalgia. This one song I'm listening to, I used to listen to it all the time during like high school and such. But it's also kind of like edgy in a way, I think. I don't know. Let me see if I can spark anyone else's memory. To me. It's from... I found it out from Monster Cat. To me. So good. Okay, come to think of it, I'm thinking of it now. I wonder if, Monster Cat is like a VTuber at this point, too. You know, there's a lot of things where it's like, I wonder if they are a VTuber yet. Because there's a lot of things where it's like, if this was a VTuber, that'd be really cool. Like, there are some brands in the world where it's like, it'd be really cool to have them actually brand themselves as a VTuber. Like, I'm still waiting to someone making the point of making a Wendy's VTuber. I think that would be hilarious, because the Twitter personality is very, very similar to just a VTuber. It's waiting to happen. It's just waiting gold. I mean, Opera GX, you know, they made a VTuber, and she's really funny. She's really charming. So where is it, Wendy's? Huh? Where are you gonna get your VTuber? Where is it? Where art thou? Where are the VTuber? Then I think the novel concept of just like that kind of thing would be hilarious. There would be, I think there would also just be so many people interested in like, oh my god, Wendy's got a VTuber? That'd just be really funny. Be Wendy's VTuber of all time. That's how you do marketing, and then, you know, people would go like, oh my god, Wendy's joke. I'm thinking of things, but saying it out loud sounds so stupid. Like, imagine like some person you're like really, really into. Let's say this theoretic Wendy's mascot VTuber does exist, and it's like going to like, oh, Wendy's-chan, I want a Baconator. Can you get me some stuff off? And it's just like, oh god, it sounds so stupid. But at the same time, I'm all for that. That would be hilarious to see. That would be an amazing marketing stunt, I would say. Very, very funny. I imagine it probably would work well. Then unfortunately, you would have another IP, you would have something to really worry about, and also you probably need someone to really represent it well. And then graduation and all this sort of stuff, and just the culture with VTubing, you need to do your research, I suppose. But it still would be really funny. It'd be really funny. It'd be really funny to have a VTuber, a Wendy's VTuber. I'm waiting, it's gonna happen. One of these days, mark my word, one of these days, all the corporate entities of the world shall get a VTuber. Everything will revert into a VTuber. They must forbid their living flesh and then give it into being a human, being a robot. The Miku effect, if you will. Everyone will just become Miku. The world would be a lot better if they were just Miku, no? How does our bread look? I think we might be getting close to the cinnamon rolls, at least. Oh, that's good. That's class. I like that. Nice. Now, something I just noticed, I unfortunately didn't use the right tool for this, because you can see this is binary, but it isn't for the other ones, so a little oopsie, but oh well, who cares? I certainly don't. It is what it is, you know? Don't feel like crying over it. It's gonna be a funny little thing, and that's all this is supposed to be, a funny little drawing. Yippee! Yeah, but once I'm done coloring this in, I think we can get back into the bread baking and actually start the baking. I think the... what is it? The not the croissants. The danishes should be ready. I'm looking at the cinnamon rolls and they look very much done, but I'm not sure. The danishes are kind of fine if they're not ready for me, just because I don't think I don't mind it too much if they're like slightly under or not like cooked the way I want it to, or the way they should be. Sorry. Minima. Here we go. Brown and purple. Purple bow tie, purple bow tie. Jeez, a lot of Monster Cat is playing on my playlist right now. Not complaining, I love Monster Cat, but it's very... strange. Not strange, but it's very like, wow. I guess I'm just going back to my time in like, high school. High school me. We don't talk about high school me. It was a very weird time to be high school me, but definitely was a time. A thing of all time. I think I got my color palette. I don't think I'm gonna need the reference anymore. Da 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 da. Happening to you. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Alright, now I just need brown, I think, and dark purple. Okay. Okay, 2 more frames and we're done, and I can actually start the baking. Very slow process. This is. Oh, I just realized I didn't color this white at all. I'll do that later. White is easier to get a color of. But I didn't do it for this one. It's weird. Wow, I'm an hour late. Is that funny? You also typed in first in chat, but you didn't even make it in. My goodness. Tisk tisk. Late. You're late to work. You're late. You're late. You're getting doxed off your pay for that. Your pay getting docked off for that. Came in late. On stream. Can't do that. Get ready to now have $10 taken off your account because he decided to be late. Grr. Alright. There you go. That's pretty good. I like that. Very fun. Alright. I'm gonna really quickly convert it. And there we go. I now have a Minima. There we go. Got it. Made the little animation. Look at her go. That being said, it's time to change perspectives here. And when I mean by change perspective, I mean
The quality of this as well, because it's time to go back to baking. Yes, it's time. You hear the crunchy mic come out. When you hear the crunchy mic, you know what that means. We're going back to doing the baking. I'm gonna have our special guest Minima just sitting right here with Jeffrey. So she'll be right there. Alright. Here we go. Alright. Okay, so these look done. Though I'm not sure. Like, I'm poking them because the best way to tell is doing a 2/3 technique, but they look good. So, you know what? We'll bake those right away. And these, we'll bake both of these right away. We'll see how it turns out, right? Nah? Okay, I don't want to be that low to the low, though, so hold on, let me fix that. Gotta get out my oven mitts. Here we go. Okay, in they go. Alright, sweet prince. Good night, sweet prince. Okay, so now we can start working on our milk bread. Definitely has doubled in size. Definitely did rise a nice amount. So now we can start working with that. Habah. A lot of bubbling. Yeah, and now that we let it rest properly as well, it's got a nice smooth look to it. Very, very nice and soft and supple. So we're definitely going to be able to make it into something. We're going to be making it into a nice, good old variety of things. So I'm going to get my handy dandy little pan right here. And I think the most obvious course of action we do is make some rolls. I'm gonna be making some what is it? I'll make some I think some dinner rolls would be nice. Because they'll be versatile for me. I can make dinner rolls or use them as buns. So it'll be nice to have for them to have many uses. Alright. It's gonna be kind of funny if anyone knows what kind of container I'm about to grab. But listen. It works really well for what I need to use it for, okay? The takeout container is kind of funny, I understand. But listen, it's gonna work for what I need it to be used for. Alright, so, 60... We're gonna go for 70 grams. I want to do little rolls this time. So I'm just gonna portion these out to be 70 grams each. And put them into my greased container right there. Kind of nice though, no? I have so much of this dough to work with. I could potentially make so much bread with it as well. Yeah. I only plan on just making, what is it? I plan on just making this milk bread into many things. One of them is going to be obviously some dinner rolls. I think I'm going to try to make a hoagie-esque roll, like a long roll. That's an idea I want to do too, but we'll see. Not an idea, it's a kind of roll I want to do. Do you remember our philosophical debate? What we were talking about because we definitely had that, a very obviously made philosophical debate of like, oh yeah, what is bread? To be or not to be? That is the question. And it's not just a question of like, oh, Shakespearean stuff, but like, think about it. To be or not to be? That is the question. Like, as we were just talking of like our croissants and such, you know, croissant dough can be like a croissant dough, that is correct, but what if you don't want to make a croissant with a croissant dough for some reason? This recipe I'm making right now is a milk bread recipe, but I'm making dinner rolls with them, you know? Bread only has one B and a backwards B, so which is 2B. Exactly. So it's to be or not to be. Bread has to be. So yeah, I'm just trying to make this milk bread, and I'm making it into a different way of I want. So the main thing I'm trying to want to really show off here is that the point of today's stream, you know, I kind of realized I never really told anyone, I never explained to you all what's the point of today's stream. The point of today's stream is to try to introduce the idea of like, hey, I might make a milk bread recipe, or like I might want a bread, but I don't know a recipe for it. But what if I use a different recipe to make my bread? What I'm trying to say is that even though I'm using a milk bread recipe, I'm going to be making like I can do whatever I want with it. With this milk bread, I could make it into a hoagie roll or a submarine roll or whatever you would call it, because there's apparently several ways of explaining a submarine roll or a hoagie roll or a sandwich roll, whatever you want to call it. There's plenty of ways to really talk about it, but my main thing is what I'm trying to do is that I'm showing how I can use my milk bread recipe, and it can be very much changed into something else. I can make my milk bread into a dinner roll, as you are seeing. Just making sure I pinch the bottom here. Make sure I get a nice ball. Place it in just like that. And now I'm just going to let these rest and do their thing. So there we go. We got our dinner rolls, or they could be slider rolls. They can be whatever they want to be. That's that. I'm now gonna get some other pans because I can. Not... Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna do them on pans because... What is it? Because the pans I want to bake them in are in the oven currently, so I currently cannot do the thing I want to do. However, I'm going to improvise. I'm going to be getting sheets of parchment and putting them onto this conveniently placed board right here, and then shaping my bread accordingly to what I need it for. So I want to do a hoagie roll, so I think a nice size would probably be like a nice, maybe 120 grams. It might be a little big. Because, as I already mentioned, I made some... What is it? Actually, you know what? Let's go for 150. I made some... What is it? I made some meatballs recently. So one of my favorite ways to eat meatballs is actually to put them on like a roll or something like that. Like a nice little small submarine roll. So I'm going to try to make these into a nice little roll here. But they're a little sticky. So I got to portion them out. Not weirdly, but in a way. And then... Okay. That was me. That was me. Don't worry, lads. That was me. Do not look at your Discord. I know you probably just heard that. Do not look at them. It was me. Your Discord does not exist. Your Discord account is currently logged out. Do not worry. Do not fret. It was me. I'm the one. I killed the children. I robbed the bank. I did all the things. I think I'm gonna make some milk bread buns too. Why not? And I'll divide them by 100, so they'll be like 100 sized. I got 410 left, so the only reasonable way to distribute them into rolls is doing 100 each. These will be nice burger buns. Or I'll be repurposing them into buns, so... Alright. Everything now was portioned, so I can now put my thing away. But now here's the slightly difficult part. It's just shaping them. Now, I'm not saying it's difficult in a bad way, it's just difficult because this bread is incredibly soft. So it's inherently a little bit more difficult to work with, just due to how soft it is. But you just gotta work with it, not against it. So, it needs just a bit more flour to work with to make it so it doesn't stick to my surface. Which is the only thing that I'm worried about. I'm just worried about it sticking to the surface and then it doesn't shape correctly, and it's not as nice and smooth as it could be, and yada yada yada. You don't need to, I don't need to give you excuses. I just need to make sure there's flour. Trying to do that thing that I'm trying to not try and make myself do, which is ramble. As you may know, I ramble an exorbitant amount. I just talk, and I don't really know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking about the world. I talk about the strangest things. Like, I'll talk about something completely random, not related to what I'm doing, and it's like, why am I talking? Quit talking. Stop it. There we go. I'll show them on screen right now, just because they're placed off screen. But I got 4 buns, and these will be some nice burger buns later. So I'll place these to the side. And now I have to do, I think, 3 more rolls. I'm going to be making, what is it? Oh yeah, torpedo rolls, or hoagie rolls, or just rolls. They're going to be a little bit different since they're not being rounded. It's going to be a little bit more hard to do it as well. So I'm just going to try and stretch them out by hand. And essentially how you would like shape a baguette, but a little bit different, because I'm going to be constantly pinching the sides down and also making sure I kind of taper the ends. Just not too much though. I want it to be long enough to where I can probably put a few meatballs in there. But yeah. There we go. We got 1 log right there. I'm going to put that right here. And I'm going to do the same thing, rinse and repeat. Flattening it out and then tucking it underneath. I need more flour though. Just gently pushing it down and then tucking underneath. Constantly just tucking. Pinching the seams on the bottom. There we go, we got a nice log. Bread is stored in the loaf. That is very true. Bread is very much stored in the loaf. Okay, so talking about loaf again, it's a funny thing to talk about it because recently, like after yesterday's stream, I found someone who is also a VTuber named Loaf. Really funny. I think they're in pre-debut, but there is another fellow VTuber that is bread-based, but kind of like Loaf, they don't, I don't believe they bake. That was me. That wasn't you. That was me. Anyways, yeah. Not gonna lie, but the first time I actually did meet Loaf, like Angelic Loaf, my first VTuber friend, I thought they were like a baker, cook or something as well, but no, lo and behold, they were pretty much the same. They were just a little gamer, doing little gamer things. Hello there, that is. Hello. Alright, there we go. Here are the rolls. They're nice, long, they're gonna be turning into nice sandwiches later in the future. I might even make them into just normal sandwiches. They might want just be meatball sandwiches, but that is for me to find out later. How's your day been? My day has been very good. Thank you for asking. Currently we're just making some bread. We're finishing up here. I have turned my milk bread into 3 other things. I have made them into torpedo rolls, or however you want to explain them. I'm making them into dinner rolls as well as making them, they're over there, into burger buns. So, yeah. Today, I'm gonna just repeat myself because I'm a broken record. Today I just wanted to showcase that even though that there's one bread recipe, you can make that bread into whatever you want. And now I have to make sure I actually flip or take it out because it looks cooked. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, I say that's cooked. A little smoke, which I don't really like. It's a little worrisome. But there we go. Those look nice. A little dark, but I'm fine with that. I like a nice little crispy crunch. And then the cinnamon rolls came out really nice too. Look really nice. Smells of cinnamon, nice butter, baked bread. It's very, very nice. So now this is also the point to where I gotta have to take these, put them somewhere else. So I got some cooling racks I can use. I'm really hoping my my smoke alarm doesn't go off. It'll just be very loud and annoying and obnoxious. That was me again. That was me. Ugh, my hands are too baby for this. Now I have to really quickly just wipe and clean this. I guess in a weird way, I'm kind of seasoning this pan, but it's so dark now than what it used to be when I first got it. It's a shame, but hey, I tried cleaning it so much, but it likes to get burnt so much as well. I kind of gave up on it. Alright, so now I'm just gonna put these guys on their own separate sheets. Just because I want to make sure that they actually get enough space for them to bake. So yeah. We're gonna leave these there. And there we go. I'll put this other roll somewhere else for now. But yeah, we got our rolls here. So now, a nice way to garnish them, a good way to garnish them now, is if I get myself some powdered sugar. And I gotta go get a little strainer. Hold on. Got myself a little sting here. And just doing the simple thing of just putting sugar in here, powdered sugar, and then dusting it very lightly. Okay, maybe not very lightly, but lightly enough. Alright. Cute. Very nice. Just adding a bit of something, a little bit of sweetness. It's gonna be very, very rich, so just giving it a bit of something else will help it go a little bit further, you know? Gonna take a picture. And the same thing for the cinnamon rolls, but I am gonna actually let them cool off for a moment. But here, I'm gonna take a little taste of this little boy. Alright, here we go. Crispy, flaky, rich, sweet. So good. Yeah, they're good. Definitely gonna try and eat all of those today. But yeah, that's nice. Very good, delicious sweet treat. I'll put these somewhere else for now as well. I just don't have enough place to put all this stuff. My goodness. But now let me grab my cinnamon rolls. Alright, cinnamon rolls. They look nice and soft and puffy and all this stuff and airy. So, how can we make them a little better? One, I could just put sugar on it, powdered sugar, and call it a day, but I think we should try and give them a bit more fun. So I'm going to be making a nice little glaze for them. The glaze is very simple. I'm going to get my container, put a little bit of powdered sugar in it. This is probably like half a cup's worth of powdered sugar. I'm then going to get got corn syrup. I'm going to probably put around just a real quick splash of corn syrup. Because when you put corn syrup and powdered sugar and then water, it makes the glaze kind of makes it more of a glaze instead of just like a nice little drizzle. And it holds a lot more of its structure. It won't melt and disintegrate instantly. It won't completely disintegrate is what I'm trying to say. Ugh, that was hard to say. And now I'm just kind of adding water to my own likings of texture. So, there we go. We got a nice, thick, creamy sort of glaze here that I'm going to use. And I'm just going to mix it up nice and fine. Add another splash of water, though. There we go. That should be good. Shuvimo, hello. Hi. Hello. Thank you for the lurking. Hello, hello. We're just finishing off my cinnamon rolls here. Ooh, nice and crispy. Oh boy, this one just popped out. Just like that. Alright, so now I'm just going to get this glaze and just very simply glaze. 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 Very nice. I'm gonna take a picture of it too. Hold on. And as that is now done, time to give it a taste. Alright. The layers definitely are very different. You can very much... Ooh. Crispy. Very nice. Oh, man. It's a really good cinnamon roll. So rich, buttery, crispy, soft, flaky, but sweet and has so much cinnamon on it. Yeah, that's a nice way of eating up. That's a nice way of using scraps right there. Very good. Very tasty. Alright. well, I'm just gonna take these and put them somewhere elsewhere for now. Yeah, these turned out really well. So far, so good. But unfortunately, I think I might have to turn off my model. Let's see if I can do that. So, hold on. Because my phone is about to die. So, I'm not going to be able to move anymore, unfortunately. I have lost my ability to move. I have not lost my ability to speak, though, so that's a plus, right? Alright. Yeah, now I just kind of have to clean up my mess at this point. One moment. Okie doke. I'm gonna let the croissants go a little longer. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm gonna be able to bake the croissants today, on stream at least. So, and the bread, our rolls and such, I believe they're gonna take some time as well, unfortunately. Yeah, they still need time. So, with my phone dying and how things are looking, I think it might just be best in our best interest right now to end stream. Unfortunately. Hey, this is a good time to do plugs, though. Oh, wow, yeah, we're doing plugs now. Hold on, I'm gonna turn my phone back on so you can at least see me move for the last bit. Oh, thank you for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Alright. So this is a good time for me to start plugging stuff in. Yeah. If you want to see the outcome of these things, you can follow me on Twitter. I will post my Twitter link. Yeah. If you want to see what happens to it on Twitter, I'll be posting the thing there. YouTube, you get that as well. I am going to go. I gotta go finish the baking, and also I kind of realized I need to make myself dinner. So, thank you all for tuning in today. I gotta finish off the baking, and I gotta go charge my phone. So, I will see you all very, very soon. On the Twitters, at least. So, thank you for tuning in today. I hope you'll have a good rest of your night, day, morning, or whatever time zone you're in. I'm going to go. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for saying hi. It's time for me to go. So, Otsukichi and ciao. Bye bye. Bye bye.